adventure that's beyond compare. They are the Gummi.
For many of us, The Adventures of the Gummi Bears was a part of our childhood memories. It was full of bright colors, amazing characters, and a theme song that stayed with us for years. But looking back, the show had some deep layers that kids could never grasp. Beneath a friendly tone, some of the storylines were surprisingly full of mature themes for a Disney cartoon in the mid-80s. We can see them deal with things like extinction, exploitation, and even body horror. So today, we're digging into all those unexpected corners and taking another look at this classic through an adult lens. Now, before we get started, hit that subscribe button for more marvelous videos and leave a like.
They sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air.
Number 1. The series explores themes of extinction and species decline. One of the first things that hits us when we watch the show is how sad the story's basic foundation is. The whole show takes place long after a thriving gummy world fell apart. The great gummies once lived openly with amazing inventions and magic, but after centuries of trouble, fear, and tension with humans, they were forced to leave, and only a small group stayed behind, tucked away deep in the forests, doing their best to protect what's left of their traditions. That feeling of loss is evident throughout the series. All the gummies talk about their past as if it were a dream they will never be able to achieve again, and so much of their actions are rooted in the intent to keep their culture alive rather than grow it. And they try to stay hidden at all times because the exposure would lead to their destruction. For what was meant to be a kid's show, it's surprisingly heavy and deep. Many kids notice all the fun moments in the show, but we understand that all the characters carry the weight of being the last members of a nearly forgotten world. And it gives the show a quiet sadness underneath all the adventures we see. Number 2. The show invokes colonial exploitation and oppression themes. And when we truly understand the depths of the show and its medieval look, we realize that the conflict between Duke Igthorn and the Gummi Bears aligns with patterns we have seen in real history. Igthorn is not just a random villain who chases power. He's constantly trying to control the gummies, take their knowledge, and use it for himself. It is a lot like someone trying to exploit another culture's resources for their personal agendas. All his ogres are like colonial forces that storm the forests, raid the gummies' home, and try to force out the secrets of the natives. The gummies know precisely what would happen if he gained access to their machines or magic, so they hide. And in a world full of evil, staying out of sight is the only way they can stay safe. Nothing in the script calls this out directly, but the idea is clear when we revisit it now. A stronger outsider seeks to dominate a smaller group, and the smaller group protects itself by remaining invisible and guarding its history. It adds a seriousness you didn't notice as a child, but recognize easily as an adult. Number 3. The gummy berry juice functions as an allegory for addiction and dependency. We all remember gummy berry juice as the fun stuff that makes the gummies bounce around while giving humans a burst of strength. But when you take a closer look at how it's treated throughout the show, it feels like it was more than just a power-up. The characters are shown to rely on it when danger arises constantly, and many episodes revolve around making it, hiding it, or keeping it from falling into the wrong hands. The gummies treat the juice almost like something that has to be controlled carefully. They mix it in small batches, guard the recipe, and keep it stored away so that nothing can go wrong. Meanwhile, humans want it desperately for the strength boost it provides, which is why Igthorn treats it as the ultimate prize. As for the gummies themselves, needing it during the fights creates its own kind of pressure. They aren't powerless without it, but they're definitely less confident. And that feeling of dependence pops up again and again. Kids saw it as magic juice and left it at that. Looking back, it works like a metaphor for something helpful, but potentially dangerous if the wrong people get their hands on it. Number 4. Disturbing kidnapping and captivity subtext. Something else that is clear when rewatching the show is how often kidnapping appears as a central plot point. Sunny is the one who gets taken the most. Villains see her as young, talented, and easy to take advantage of, which leads to many uncomfortable situations. In the episode, A Gummy in a Gilded Cage, bird-like harpies steal her away because they want her as a kind of living songbird. She ends up stuck in their nest, kept away from her home. Grammy also finds herself captured in several episodes, often by Igthorn, who doesn't hesitate to threaten her if he thinks she knows something useful. The show keeps the tone light, but these situations remain intense. And when we were kids, these episodes felt like another rescue mission that they went on. But now it's obvious how often the writers use abduction and forced confinement to raise the stakes. Characters get locked up, tricked into cages, or snatched away without warning. The cheerful animation softens it, but the core idea is surprisingly dark when you pay enough attention. Number 5. The series contains body horror and disturbing imagery. As we discussed before, for a show meant to be sweet and friendly for kids, Gummi Bears has some genuinely strange moments. And one of those, which is very disturbing, is about a powder that freezes characters into stone-like sculptures. They even stay aware in some scenes, unable to move or speak, which is a pretty unsettling idea. And for kids, it may seem like some magic, but for adults, it's like a nightmare from a dark fantasy. There are also many magical mishaps in the series that change bodies, distort shapes, or transform creatures entirely. Dragons hiccup uncontrollably, animals behave oddly under spells, and environments twist in bizarre ways. Some episodes feel like they're pulling from old fairy tales, where strange curses and odd transformations were common and often creepy. And the show never frames any of this as horror, but the imagery sometimes strongly leans toward it. Because everything is wrapped in bright colors and upbeat music, these moments slide by. But the deeper you understand it, the more noticeable the eerie undertones get. Number 6. The Giant Spider episode features implied immortal imprisonment. One of the episodes that feels especially dark in the entire series is the one featuring the Spinster, a massive spider trapped deep underground. The Great Gummies captured her centuries before and sealed her away. When the characters eventually find her, she's still alive, still alert, and clearly hasn't aged at all. That alone sets a grim tone. After she's confronted again, Sir Thornberry and Cavan manage to trap her once more behind stone walls. The moment is played as a victory, but when you think about the entire scene, they've sentenced her to an indefinite existence in total darkness. It's not a punishment you expect to be inflicted by the heroes. There's no hint that she ever dies or weakens. She waits, and the idea of being trapped, fully conscious, and completely alone is unsettling. It's one of those rare moments in a kid's show, given how it was handled, but it's a surprisingly heavy idea. Number 7. Tummy functions as a fat joke character with problematic humor. Tummy Gummi is one of the show's friendliest characters, but his portrayal doesn't age well. Most of his jokes revolve around food, overeating, or his size. He gets stuck in tight spaces, falls behind because he's slow, or causes problems because of his weight. In the 80s, it was typical cartoon humor, but now, after all these years, it comes off as mean-spirited. The episode Tummy's Last Stand is a good example. His weight almost leads to his capture, and instead of exploring the courage or cleverness that he displayed, the story focuses on training to slim him down. But what's more frustrating is that Tummy has many other good qualities. He's gentle, thoughtful, and often more observant than others give him credit for. But the show rarely highlights any of that. It leans too heavily on food jokes, and his personality gets pushed aside. And now it's clear how much the humor depends on his body. It reflects an older style of writing where physical differences become easy targets. Today, creators handle these things with better care. Number 8. The Barbic Gummies subplot involves racial/species prejudice and planned genocide. The introduction of the Barbic Gummies shifts the tone in a way that surprises many people. These gummies don't just avoid humans, they are openly hostile. Their history with humans left them bitter, cautious, and angry. What shocks most people is how far that anger goes. The Barbics hunt for an ancient weapon designed to wipe out all of humanity, and the show never even tries to hide that intention. It's one of the few times the series shows gummies carrying deep prejudice instead of innocence. The Barbics speak about humans as a threat that must be eliminated for their safety. Their approach comes from a long history of fear and trauma, but the extreme reaction still stands out. The show eventually softens these attitudes as characters get to know one another, but those early episodes reveal just how heavy the themes can get. Seeing a whole community consider wiping out another group is intense for a cartoon aimed at kids. It shows that the writers were not afraid to introduce serious ideas even in a bright fantasy setting. Number 9. The show was revolutionary, but used production shortcuts. Behind the scenes, Gummi Bears played a massive role in shaping Disney's future in television animation. It was their first big series, and helped set the tone for their later shows. With arcs, world building, and more layered storytelling, it raised the bar for what kids' TV could be. But because it aired long before people could pause and watch the episodes frame by frame, the animators added little shortcuts and jokes they assumed no one would ever catch. They slipped in tiny drawings, odd markings, and bits of text into scenes that might not have passed the network standards back then. But with modern streaming services and DVDs, fans have found these small surprises. Some of them were funny, and some were just strange, and it's exciting to see how many of these hidden touches were unnoticed for decades. The show feels even more charming when you realize how much personality the animators left tucked into the background. Number 10. The series' mythology involves forbidden knowledge and ancient technology. One of the central points of the show's plot is the Great Book of Gummi. It is a massive collection of everything the Gummis ever discovered, invented, or learned. It holds spells, mechanical designs, and deep pieces of their past. Every time the characters open it, it feels like they're connecting with something powerful and a little dangerous. Many of the episodes in the series revolve around recovering old machines or forbidden knowledge and preventing them from falling into the wrong hands. The Gummis don't fully understand a lot of the old tech themselves, which adds a layer of tension whenever they try to use it. It's really clever how the writers were exploring the idea that knowledge can be both helpful and risky at the same time. The book holds many wonders, but also contains elements that could harm people if misused. It gives the story a weight we don't notice when we're young because we're generally lost in how cool all that sounds. It asks us questions about how the knowledge can be used fairly for advancement rather than destruction. Marvelous verdict. So, revisiting Adventures of the Gummi Bears now shows how much more was going on beneath all the bright colors. The series often explores dark themes and carries ideas about loss, prejudice, secrecy, fear, and survival without ever losing its warmth. Kids never understood the deeper layers shown, but adults can spot them right away. It's a great show that mixed sweetness with depth in a way that feels special, and that may be the reason it sticks with many people even after all these years. It's a series far richer than a basic kids show, and it is truly marvelous. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, be safe, and thanks everyone.